All right. Yeah, welcome everyone. I'm Jelte. I'm the CEO of Founders Lair and also ambassador now for Chaoyang District since today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm very honored to be here today with four of the startups, foreign startups that won ITEC this year, with some of them with substantial prizes, other one a little bit smaller ones, but still quite good achievements, because in the past years, we tried to always get more foreign faces to win from different countries. And this year we made huge progress in this regard. And we cover Europe, Africa, South America, and Europe. So here just in the panel. I hope everyone is fine back there. All right, I'm going to sit down. We usually bring around 1,000 startups, international ones, to apply to the competition. And those are 4 of the 6 startups that came through our channel that won. So the chances of getting actually as an international startup to land are very, very slim. I see some foreign faces here. Maybe you are winners too, or maybe you're planning to win next year. We try to provide some insights on how they managed to get here and what they're going to do in China in the next couple of years that you can replicate it. And first, I would like that we have a very brief introduction of all of our startups. Keep it short, maybe 2 sentences, just your name, where your company is from, or where you are from, you can choose. And yeah, let's start with that, and what your company does.
Fantastic.
Daniel.
Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Galaxies. I'm Brazilian. The company is also from Brazil. And we develop technology called synthetic personas for consumer prediction behavior.
Thanks, Daniel. I'm David Chen. As my name indicates, I'm part Chinese, part African, and I'm originally raised and born in the UK, and our company is Capsule based in Rwanda. We are a health data aggregator, so we aggregate data from a mixture of hospitals, insurers, pharmacies, and digital health solutions, and we've amassed over 75 million health records across the continent and growing. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dennis Sutter. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Colin Zero. We are a spin-off company of the University of Zurich in Switzerland, and our customers are material scientists that need extremely low temperatures for their research. So we are providing those temperatures for them.
Hi, I'm Nico, also from Switzerland, but my company is based in Singapore. And so we are providing an Amazon-like marketplace for building to buy the green tech, the technology that will help them to save energy in their premises.
Cool, thank you. By the way, if someone from the audience wants to ask specific questions to the founders, you can also do that. We have time for that. We are here now in Beijing, in Chaoyang, and probably many people from your home countries will say, what are you doing here? Why are you in China? Why are you not going to the US or other markets, Europe? So why are you here? What do you want to do it? What makes you exciting about China? Maybe because, let's start with Daniel then.
For us, I think the last 5 to 10 years, a lot of Chinese companies started to focus on Brazil. So we have a lot of companies like BYD, Huawei, of course, other companies like TikTok in itself, Kawaii, and now Temu, Shopee, and some other ones. And for us we started to work with them locally in the country, and they started to question us like, why don't you have an entity in China? Would be easier procurement, and started like to put on this track. And I think also in our case with AI, we're also looking at the next frontier of talent expansion, and everything started to piece in together for us to be here.
Let's go next with Dennis. So here we have the classical case of Chinese companies asking, why are you not in China yet, even though they're operating in Latin America? What was the reason for you? Why are you excited about China?
Yeah, I mean, our customer base was from the start international. So actually we don't have any customers in Switzerland, but more in Europe, in the US. And I mean, the whole research world goes to lower temperatures. So the trend is there, and especially in China, they're investing more into research in very fundamental science fields. So we have two customers in Beijing, one at Peking University, the other one at the Chinese Academy of Sciences. We have two more customers in China, and it just makes sense for us to be very close to our customers. So that's the main reason why we're here.
Maybe Nico next?
Sure. All right. For us, it's very simple. We want to be here because this is the biggest market on the planet. There's so many buildings here, and we have two missions. One, we will bring the right technology in the buildings to help the buildings in China to decarbonize. And the second is there are so many green tech and technology here around in China that we want to bring abroad as well. So our platform recognizes and records and registers every technology that exists and applies them on buildings everywhere in the world. So we are bringing other technology from everywhere in the world in China on the buildings here and bringing the technology from China on buildings all around the world.
That's a very interesting case of bringing Chinese technology around and with a special focus on sustainability, which I think many countries outside still underestimate what role China plays in all of this and what achievements have been made there. David, what about you?
Yeah, so for us, China is one of the first major economies that saw the potential in Africa. The developing of the private sector in Africa has been huge. And what we notice is that as African healthcare is developing and you have a growing population, a young population, they need the medicines and the medical equipment that is necessary for the country. Meanwhile, you have the market currently being dominated by Indian companies. So what we saw was an opportunity for Chinese companies that are producing high quality products to enter into African markets by identifying where those patients are, what medicines they have access to, and what is needed so that you can close the gap between supply and demand. So that was our initial reason for entering here, and coupled with that is just the significant and meaningful investments that China has been making into Africa made us think that we have to be here in this environment as it's happening. Thank you.
A brief raise of hands. Before September last year, have you been to China before? Raise your hand.
If we have.
Yeah, have you been to China? Okay, so the two of them have China experience. The two of them just came first time in September. Right? This is also quite interesting mixture of knowledge. But I'm quite happy that both of them, who first time came here, actually made it to win at Chaoyang, at the Chaoyang ITEC competition. Now I would like to know, with your new knowledge of China and your experienced knowledge of China, what are your plans for the next year? How do you want to grow your business? What are the steps of expanding? How do you maybe want to utilize Chaoyang for that? Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can kick this off. So for us, it's firstly realizing that we need to come in with an open mind and open eyes and ears and learn. So we don't want to come in with a prevailing view or an opinion on how business should operate. We want to come and learn from people who've done it before, from the networks that you've been able to connect us to and the learnings that we've had from other founders. And secondly, we want to communicate the opportunity that exists in expanding for the Chinese companies that are here in expanding their customer base to a new set of customers. So I think every business wants to find customers, and if you can make it easier for them, then it's a very compelling value proposition. So for us, step one is to learn and to adapt, and step two is to make sure our messaging is very, very clear and very easy to understand for our customers.
And who's going to come to China? Are you staying here for a week or a month, or who from the team will be here?
For someone who hadn't been to China before and our business was curious about the Chinese market, but we hadn't made any serious investments. Right now I'm here with my co-founder who came in, I think he was traveling for 17 hours to get here. So we see it as very important. So we're going to set up an office here and then start the operations. But we know you can't half do China. It needs to be something that you do very committed. So we both come and want to make that commitment.
The commitment is, by the way, something that we also figure out on the application process on, are you really committed about the Chinese market? And we learned that if the founders are not really sure about this, they have no chance of winning. So this commitment is a prerequisite of getting further. What about you?
I think for us it's very similar to David and Capsule. So it's in two phases. First, deepen our relationship with companies locally in Brazil. So there are very strong companies there, but some new ones coming like Didi, Meituan, they're just entering the country now, and we're focusing in relationship with them and trying to help them do what they need to do there with our product because it's already localized. But for us, we use a lot of data. So for us to localize the product here is going to take a little bit. And then phase one is there, phase two is here. And just like David, use this opportunity with them there to understand how they operate, how they like to do business, to learn a lot, and to set up roots here as well. And for us, it's the same. Now we are in the process of visiting every, like 1 month yes, 1 month no. But we're planning to come at least one of the founders to be here locally, like full time, probably by the end of this year, during this year as well. And I think, as he said, you cannot have to China. I think you have to be the. For us, it's one of the main priorities. We raised a round recently as well, and we also dedicated almost like 20-30% of the round in the plan to investment here to come here for the next like 2 years.
Yeah. So a lot of founders that we talk to, they only see China as the big opportunity and the quick way to make cash, but they always underestimate that you actually need to dedicate a lot of resources, time, money, and other things to grow here. And if you are not here locally and you have a founder here, you cannot make it. And here is an example actually now of the more experienced ones. Dennis, tell us what's your plan for the next year of setting up and growing China for your business for Content Zero?
Yeah, so maybe so far I have been to Wuhan, Shenzhen, and Shanghai, but it's the first time for me in Beijing. So I mean, the first thing that is up on our priority list is just to be close to our customers, to have a service center first, installation center. So this is the low-hanging fruit, I would say. Secondly, we are like at the cutting edge of scientific instrumentation for low-temperature devices. So many of our customers are also sort of a collaboration on the R&D space. So it's typically we start with a standard thing, and then with the customer together, it evolves into new R&D activities for new instrumentation. So I think this is the natural second step. And then the third step would be just grow also in sales activities around China. So far, we have been working with a distributor, but we can also, of course, grow our own sales capabilities as well.
So also something that we realize when the startups already have a running operation here and they can throw around where city terms like Wuhan and Xi'an and Chengdu or other cities here in China, we already know that their horizon is already one step ahead. They know what they have to do, who they have to sell to, how they're going to sell, what the roadmap is, how they own the market. You see the difference already. Both of them start in Shaoyang, so that are the first steps. Now they just develop the next horizon. For Dennis and Content Zero, it's already the next step and quite exciting because you have a product that the market wants. How's that for Nico, for beez-fm?
Yeah, so for me, it's a little bit different. So I used to live in Shanghai before. So I'm quite familiar with China, even if I don't speak the language, except in restaurants. Anyway, we are creating a company here in Shaoyang to develop the market, to find the buildings, to connect more buildings, but we are not going to do only sales. We also create and produce our products. This is a little box that can go in each and every building to connect the buildings to our platform. So this we are now producing in Singapore. We will move this production to China as well. We may produce it in Chaoyang. That's my original idea. But we are still studying what is making more sense, but I really would like that. And we will try to find, we will need some other employee to go around China and find technologies. What are the green tech that are existing here, and can we test them? So we need to find this as well. So it's more like someone to explore the different markets. And this country is extremely big and very different. Every region is different. So probably the multiculturality of this country by itself probably requires several employees in different places for different missions.
All right, let's dive into what you're excited about for the next year. So what are the maybe two things that you're excited about doing business in China? Something where you say the adoption of technology, the hunger of the people for doing things, the speed of producing things. I'm just dropping some seeds here of what you can talk about. Maybe two things where you say, that's something I'm really excited about that we haven't seen in other markets, maybe in your home market, that you want to dive into and explore in the next year. Let's start here.
I think here companies show much more openness to testing out new technology and new solutions. It is sometimes there's some challenge we face a little bit in Latin America, especially enterprise customers. They're a little bit more, they're very worried about not losing their job first and testing out new stuff then after. So I think for us, it's going to accelerate the rate in which we are basically adopted, which also increases the rate the product can evolve. And I think the second thing is looking for distribution partners as well here in the region, because our business works really well with distribution partners, so other companies reselling us. So I think this is something they're very keen to find here and to understand how that would change our dynamic as a company.
You stole a bit my one that I thought of initially. But I'd say the second thing that I'm super excited about is just how centralized a lot of the customer segments tend to be and well networked, so that if a solution works well, particularly in helping a company gain more customers, there is a natural network effect of word getting around that you're helping businesses. So I think for us, just having a few strong brands that we're working with would then unlock many more potential customers to work with.
What are we excited about? So, I mean, we are selling scientific instruments, and it really depends on publication speed and quality of our customers. And I think it's just also the speed how systems are being used to actually, using our stuff to do new science is very fast. So as soon as we have installed things, I don't know if this microphone works.
Try to speak to the people in the back, and then it's fine. Just a little bit louder.
Okay, yeah. So in our case, we are just more excited about the speed of our customers producing scientific outputs that will ultimately fuel our sales as well, and our growth, and also our capability to serve more of the scientific community.
All right, I have two microphones. So we are excited about two things. Obviously, the technology here, it's amazing. People really are welcoming technologies from over the planet, and there's a lot of technology. So I'm excited to find new technology and see this acceptance towards the buildings and the people. The second thing is I'm really excited about my company, people, to learn the Chinese culture, because it's really about the exchange, and it's not just, you come from abroad and you bring something. Even we are coming from Singapore, and I have a lot of employees from Singapore that may be familiar with the local culture, but it is still different. And so I'm excited to see how fast my company will absorb this in Singapore, so that we can work together with our local structure and to make things work as fast and smoothly as possible. Yeah.
All right, we're now, it works again. Okay, cool. So one thing that we also learned is that it is extremely important to develop a community and a network around the startups, a support network. If you look at the Startup Genome report covering global startup ecosystems, you usually find Shanghai and Beijing and Shenzhen in the top 10 or top 20. The problem with these cities is, if you look at the connectedness of internationalization, they usually interview founders and they ask, what kind of founders do you know? Where do they come from? So if you ask a Chinese founder, what kind of founders do you know and where do they come from? They say, I know this founder, he's from China. I know this founder, he comes from China. So the rating for these cities is extremely low. That's the only difference compared to Silicon Valley, New York, London, and so on and so on, the international connectedness. So the support network for international founders is extremely important, because now if you interview these founders, they can say, I know a person from Switzerland, from Brazil, from Rwanda, from any country. So we already increased this rate. But the most important thing here is to develop a support network now around them but also other founders that you see here, international ones starting. And now I would like to ask you, what do you want to achieve this year? What do you need help? Do you need to hire people? Do you want to sell to specific clients? Do you want to register your IP? Do you want to start production? What exactly do you need help with? Try to be transparent and honest about if you want to hire, if you want to sell, what you want to do. And maybe some people here in the audience, they have the network to actually help you. Daniel, you're first.
I think option D, all of the above, it's for us. But I think mainly, of course, finding good distribution partners, selling, but hiring as well. I think we need local people in technology for support. For example, we work with API connections, data connections, local data training, model training. And I think, as I mentioned here, you have to find people to help you navigate the ecosystem, right? Because there's a lot of, as we were talking earlier, like a lot of noise. And I think the most scarce resource you have as a founder is time. So to help figure out where to prioritize, where to spend your time is something that we really need when entering a new market like this. There's a lot to learn, a lot to take in.
Who are you hiring? What kind of role?
Support, sales, and developer. Probably three people during the 6 months.
So if anybody is interested in these roles, go to Daniel. Synthetic Data, AI, pretty cool company, very exciting, very international. So already first one covered. David, you're next.
Yep, I'm going to be very boring and keep copying Daniel. So just to spice things up a bit, I'd say yes, sales as well. That's where businesses live and die, is through the ability to sell. But second to that, also looking at people who are not just a software engineer, but someone who can think a little bit more broadly on how to adapt our infrastructure, our methodology to a local market. So while our initial goals as we land isn't to build a Chinese version of our product, that is something that we are very much interested in and investigating further. So someone who can understand how we're building the product and look at it and make connections on how to adjust it to local context, that's invaluable. So if someone thinks in that way, let's have a chat afterwards. And yeah, I'll pass the mic.
Yep, thank you. Dennis?
First one would be a technical team member for installation services or first line service. The second one, I think will be one of the biggest challenges to find the right person, because that person would need to understand how money flows in the scientific community, from the government to the scientific laboratories, in terms of grants and how this whole ecosystem works. But at the same time needs to have an understanding on the technical level, or more of the level of our customers. So I think that person to find will be very challenging, and where we need help with.
So if anybody knows this person, go to Dennis, and very exciting quantum research, deep tech business to work at from Switzerland. But not just Switzerland, they are also very active in Asia, Japan now coming up. So very, very good and interesting markets. Nico.
Okay, so we are looking at three things, basically. So we are opening our company here in China, and we have already signed a contract with 300 buildings, and out of which are 120 in China that we have to connect. So we need the funding that we are raising in Singapore for the headquarters, because we will found the Chinese company. So that's the topic number one. The second topic is people. So we are looking at hiring a sales guy in China, at least one, maybe two, and probably as well one technical person as well in China. So sales to go to the 120 hotels to start with, and to let them know what's going to happen, sign the contract, blah, blah, blah. Go ahead and, north and south, probably different people. I don't know, to be seen. And so we need also to find the place where we can build the product that we are building right now in Singapore. So this is a small orange pie on which there is our software, and we need to industrialize this. So we need to find a place and the right partner to industrialize that product in China. So three things.
Interestingly, none of you mentioned investment. Why is that?
I said it first, no? I said investment.
Sorry,
First.
then my mind was at the duct tape at the back. But sorry, I didn't get. So, but you're the only one who said investment.
Yes, I think so.
So why is maybe then we skip you, Nico. Sorry for that. The others. Why is money not important? Are you not raising in China, or is that maybe of secondary priority?
So we haven't done any funding round so far. So we have been scaling our business to the point where we are with our customers. But now we are at the point where we want to scale faster. Now we have basically a standard product. We have a good basis now to scale faster. So funding round this year is in the room, yeah. But we still have to find, the right. We still have to define how this funding round will look like. So we are still a bit in an early stage of this planning.
Yeah. David?
And from a capital perspective, our approach to fundraising is slightly different, where we like to fund something that we already know works. So we want to figure out all of the key kinks first, so that by the time we're putting money on it, we already know it's a system that works, and then what the return would likely be, rather than raising funding to then start experimenting. Because just from past experience, when you have money and you feel the need to spend it, you can find stupid ways to spend it all the time. So having that discipline and doing the hard work with no money actually forces you to be a lot more efficient, so that when you do fundraise, you can deploy your capital properly.
I think that's also one of the reasons why both of you are already here, probably you as well, because startups raising too fast, too much, they have too much pressure, they get some guns at their hand, everybody's asking, where's my money, when can you double it? They ask you to spend it, and then you just burn faster, right? What about you, Daniel?
I mean, as you mentioned, money is very important.
Yeah.
But I think, as David said, like the more money you raise, the less pressure you have, and the more you have to spend it as well, because people are not looking for like fixed income. You cannot say like, lend me money, I'll leave it in the bank. You need to have a very good plan to spend this money. In our case as well, we just raised our seed round, which is also meaningful. So we just finished like 30 days ago, and now we have money for 2 years basically. And the idea is to expand here through selling. I think also, as they mentioned, I think now increasingly you have been asked as a founder to like show your business has a good margins, you can make money, there are people willing to pay for products, and then I think fundraising will be a natural process in the end. But I think the end goal is to have a company that can make your own money, to stand with your own legs as well, and to be your own boss in a sense as well.
Yeah, in the second session, we will have some investors being interviewed here on stage. I hope you will also be part of the audience, then asking them some questions, because if you find smart money at a later stage, once you have figured things out that help you to scale, then this is definitely worth your time. A brief question about, probably not so much about your business, but what do you think people in your home country get wrong about China? So let's look at Brazil. You can represent UK or Rwanda, Switzerland and Singapore maybe, that we get that position. Then let's start with Brazil.
I mean,
or
I think,
UK.
yeah, I think for us, I mean, in the last 5 to 10 years, like China has entered the country in a very interesting way. So I think now Chinese product has become very aspirational, especially like cars and some other products. But I think there is a very prevailing thought about being mostly a manufacturing country. So I think this is the main thing people don't really get. And I was mentioning as well, like a lot of people has that idea of, well, I'm going to go there to sell or to produce my products and then export my product. And I think this idea about like helping those companies enter your country or some other thing is not very well dissipated yet.
I'll speak from a UK perspective, and I think there are many misunderstandings about China, but I think I would say UK, but even perhaps Europe as a whole, misunderstand China's investments into Africa and assumes it is being done in a similar way to empires of the past and how that was done. So there is an inherent skepticism of anything to do with Chinese investment into Africa. But I think what is exciting and what I'm always explaining is it's much more of a business relationship. So it's not a case of you have someone exploiting someone else for resources. It's more of a transaction. And in a transaction, both parties need to agree. and both parties are bringing something to the table and gaining something in a much more reciprocal relationship. So I think that's the biggest misinterpretation is I guess the legacies of old empires, assuming how large countries engage with smaller countries.
Dennis?
I have to think a bit. I mean, typical Swiss is like a heavy reliance on structure and contracts, and once these are in place, then this is all governing. And although this is here also very important, I feel like the importance of relationships has a higher significance. So the business relationships that we have now with our distributors, I mean, this is really just beyond any contractual agreement or whatever. It really it's getting the people to know over time, and then you set up agreements and so on.
Cool. Nico?
All right, so I'm going to speak for Singapore, even if I may not look Singaporean. Basically, 75% of Singapore is from Chinese ethnicity, right? So they really know they are very different in the mindset from the Chinese mindset, but they know how is China, and China for Singapore is the place to be. I mean, every company in Singapore wants to go to China and to perform in China, for sure. So it's highly regarded and very valued country in that aspect.
Yeah, I think the proximity to China and also many of them speak Chinese
Yes.
Helps in the mutual understanding. Let's look a little bit in the future. All of you have impactful businesses that will change aspects of your industry. What do you see how the next 2 to 5 years your business will support changing your industry or certain aspects that is an output of your industry? Nico, since you have the mic, let's go first with you.
Okay, so it's very simple. We are going to decarbonize the built industry. Buildings are generating 42% of the greenhouse gases emissions worldwide. So tackling this problem, you already reduce almost 50% of the CO2 emissions, and you are directly helping from the climate change. So we are going to decarbonize the entire built industry, and remember our name because you will see it a lot in the future.
So this is something that China also direly wants. They want to reduce their emissions down to zero. Yeah. So good time to be here. Yeah?
So for us, it's maybe a little bit different. So the research community goes to, more and more towards lower temperatures. I think some of the reasons are, big umbrella term is quantum technologies like quantum computing, but also there are very materials such as superconductors or exotic magnetism. So there's a lot of things that have potential applications in the industry, but it just takes 20 or 30 years until this come to fruition. However, you first need to unlock the scientific, the capabilities on the instrument level that you can actually look at these scientific discoveries. And so we are helping, at this bottom line, try to understand this phenomena so you can build the technologies of the future.
So time horizon more 2030, yes, right?
Yeah, for us, we want to really change the perception of the Chinese pharmaceutical industry globally, and that starts off by making African customers aware of the high quality and also the high value of those products. And I think when you're changing a narrative or building an industry which is as sensitive as someone's healthcare, that perception is really, really important. So I think by us connecting to customers all across the continent of Africa, I think we will help improve the global image of high quality medicines being produced in China.
For us, I think what we aspire is to help companies release better products faster and cheaper. So basically using our technology, we hope small, medium business at some point will be able to basically test and use our product to do that. And I think this could be a very big societal impact once you put this power in the hands of companies that traditionally wouldn't be able, for example, to hire a big market research company or do a fancy work. So this is kind of the end goal, to create this positive effect. And this is help, like everyone could have a better product faster. So you as a customer, for example, would have a better phone, a cheaper phone, a cheaper like clothing, everything else regarding that would be what we're trying to aim as a company to achieve.
Cool. Before we dive into Q&A, I hope some of you have some questions for the startups here. I would, first of all, again, congratulate all of you to your winning prize at ITEC. And I'm very happy that we have built more bridges to 4 new continents, that we can increase the startup genome rating of Beijing maybe to a 2 or 3 in the next couple of years with a better connectedness. Thank you, and probably from the audience also warm applause and congratulations to the founders. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anybody has questions about the hiring, the startups, anything that you would like to know? Yes?
I'd just like to ask one second. Hello there. I'd just like to ask, what advice do you think would be vital to people competing in next year's competition?
Maybe for the more experienced guys.
What advice
What
for
advice
that?
would you give next year's entrance to the startup competition?
Competitors next year.
Okay. I mean, in our case, we had a very, the connection was for us obvious in the sense that our customers are here. So I think maybe it's more a question of how direct is the connection for your startup to Beijing. I think the more direct it is, I think customers are great, or business partners or whatever it might be in your value chain. The more direct this relationship can be established, the better, I would say.
Let me add to that, because we give usually advice also on that stage, build traction. So if your business is not there yet, that you're selling in China, so you're new, you need to build the first traction. That can be by hiring an intern, that can be by getting first letter of intents by certain companies that want to work with you. Go to events. If you are from UK or any other country, go to events in your home country that has Chinese involved, and there are tons of these events. And get pictures of that. Because that is stuff that you can put in your pitch deck, that you have already traction, you want to be here. So depending on what level of seriousness you have or attraction, start building this step by step. And the more you have, you're either in the earlier stage or in the later stage, because they both have already tons of clients and they know the cities. They both don't, but they have already the traction with the first clients and the touch points and the pull to China. So that is build your first traction. With that, you will have way better chances of winning and succeeding at a competition. Thank you for the question. Any other advice that you want to give?
I think he mentioned policy as well, which is very interesting.
Okay. Just one very simple thing. It's my opinion. I believe that here this is really for Chaoyang. So how is your company going to help Chaoyang? And so can you prove it? And I believe that's the answer. That's the most important.
Yeah, you want it, right?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate a point that I made earlier, where it's demonstrating real commitment towards the Chinese business, especially if you're at the earlier stage, because it's super competitive, it's super hard. So just mentally preparing yourself for that and then being able to communicate that to someone else is a very big thing.
We have a next question.
Jonah.
Okay, thank you very much. My question is on to the company that is doing data customer retention. So you have said that you have studied the market of China and from Brazil and coming here. So maybe mine is just, would you kindly maybe just shed some light on how you have been able to come from a different culture and totally become here, and you are able to have a hack of that and be able to have a penetration of that. Number two is that, would you maybe as well respond to the fact that you say that you already prepared financially on the resources for the next 2 years? So how is it that you have done through a series of investments, or have you done through maybe from the sales of your products, or how have you been able to have that on your budgeting or on your balance sheet for your company? Thank you.
Great question. I'll start for the second, and I think it's more direct. So we are following a route of venture capital, and especially in Latam. Once you are in our phase, which is like seed, if you want to graduate for a Series A, you need to prove international traction. This is like a must, because most investors don't believe, for example, Latam is big enough to be like a fully all the way to maybe a sale kind of company, especially if you're targeting more international investors, of course. So we are at a point that we needed to decide where to prove traction outside the country, outside the region, right? And when we raised this round, we did this big analysis. And when you mentioned we were ready, because we planned the use of proceeds, is basically why and where we need to invest this money in the next 2 years. So for us, we are very heavily based on developers, engineers, but also infrastructure, but also, for example, marketing expansion, go-to-markets, selling, and we just literally made a plan for 2 years, and then we understood how much money we would need. Through that, we focus on the biggest market, the local markets, and so we need, for example, 100,000 for here, and how much can we spare to do international expansion? So it's just about like it's an inverted rationale that we need to do. And what happened for us was that we felt a natural pull because we were serving those customers, those companies locally, and they were demanding us, asking us, like, why you're not there? For example, when we were being basically going through procurement, being like registered as a supplier for some companies, it took us 4 months to be approved because we didn't have an international entity, because it comes all the way here to be approved. So this is the first. And for example, we had a direct contact with Tencent in Brazil, and they liked the product, but they said, our market there is not big enough for us to try your product. If you had a company in China, we could think about it. So we started to feel like this pull, this natural pull, right? And then we just basically weighted the options, like either, like for example, for us, US, Europe, we're in Europe, but actually we are also expanding to Portugal because of language and cultural like similarities with Brazil. And then we made our decision here. But this is what I was telling you. I think, for example, if you were pre-seed very, very, very early, I don't think would be the moment to do that. But we are in a process that in our main market, we are solid. So we are like default active. So we're making enough money to survive there. So we raised money to expand. So we don't need to raise more money to like survive. I think this is also very like a very important moment of like graduation as a company, where you start to be able to think about this type of like, where should I go next?
So the thing here is you cannot just come to China and knock here and say, here I am, here's my data model, and I'm going to solve this problem. You first have to have someone trusting you. You have to develop this level of trust. He was capable of building that in his home country because the Chinese companies want to sell there, and he's building the trust there. They see that it works, then they say, why are you not in China? Just coming here, knocking, doesn't work. Like nobody would trust you like that. You have a next question here.
Okay, thank you very much. So my concern was going to the man talking about greenhouse gas emissions. So thank you very much for working towards that. However, thanks to China also, to us working on the greenhouse gas emission reduction. But my worry is how far have you guys worked with those other powers? Because taking a look at the Kyoto Protocol, the Paris Agreement, these are all blueprints that work towards reduction of the greenhouse gas emission. And we are working towards that. Most of those industrialized countries today, they are pulling out those agreements. How far are we working towards those guys? Thank you very much. Because the effect right now is worldwide. And the global south is receiving the effects of greenhouse gas emission. Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks for your question. Actually, a very good one. And this is exactly why we are doing what we are doing. The thing is that the issue in the market, the built industry is making so much pollution, so much greenhouse gases, because the market structure does not exist. Right now, I was working in the building industry for the last 20 years. This is why I came actually to China in the first place. Building, when I was selling green tech, I was selling to the building construction guy, to the main contractor. Why would a guy who construct a building buy a technology that helps reduce CO2 and energy consumption? He will not pay the energy bill. And this is why we are bringing the Amazon platform for building. And the thing is that what we are doing, we also embedded with a business model where the customer, the building user, doesn't have to pay for the technology. He can receive it with an OBM, an outcome-based model. So he doesn't pay anything. Only when the energy starts to reduce, then he will pay a percentage of those savings. So why would they say no? So we are actually bringing the market structure in order to reduce the energy consumption. Now, whether people are going out or they stay in the COP agreement and whatsoever, it doesn't change anything. My customer have a win situation. They will only pay a percentage of the savings they are doing tomorrow. So tomorrow, they start paying less. Why would they say no? But yeah, you are right.
We have time for a final question. Anybody? No? Okay. Then I would say we can take a short break before starting with a second session about investors. Again, thank you everyone for sharing your knowledge, and congratulations for your winning prize. Big applause to the finalists. Thank you.
Water. 10 minutes. Guys, we will wait for 10 more minutes and then we will start our second session in 10 minutes. It will be about investment in Beijing. We have invited some of our best friends to come and talk about how investment. So you can join us in 10 minutes and then please don't go too far. Cool. You guys can take a picture. Go.
Yeah, can you just remove it from Baby Ryan? He's a very good photographer.
Let's go to the big screen.
To the big screen. Okay.
Yeah.